Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you to the conversation. Now, you guys heard the news. The Lakers are possibly looking at recruiting Dwight Howard and signing him to their team. Now, why are they thinking about doing this? Well, it just turned out just about a week ago, DeMarcus Cousins had suffered an injury in practice in a scrimmage where he tore his ACL. So he's going to be gone for the season. So with that, there's this big gap in their, the five position for the Lakers to, get someone. They currently have JaVale McGee, but JaVale McGee doesn't really have the girth. He didn't have the girth that DeMarcus Cousins did. So I believe that's the reason why the Lakers are looking around, and they decided that they wanted to, give Dwight Howard, a look. Now, Dwight Howard, we haven't really heard much about him since he got it, since a couple of years ago, since he left actually the Lakers to go play with the Houston Rockets. Now, for those of you who don't know, Dwight Howard was the first overall pick in 2004. He's been to multiple All-Star teams. I think he made like 7 or 8 All-Star teams. He's won 2 Defensive Player of the Year award. He's led the league in rebounding for a number of years. And he had so much upside, in his career and all these different things. But for whatever reason, it didn't really work out in Orlando. That's where he was, that's where he was originally drafted. He said he didn't want to stay there. Then he decided that, I want to go play with Kobe Bryant in Los Angeles. And there was this big thing where before he actually decided to make that decision, he actually was, he decided that he wanted to leave the Orlando Magic. Then he decided to stay, I think it was for like a year and then an extra year, then leave again. And a lot of people were upset with him with the way he handled that. And people like Shaq didn't really like the way that Dwight Howard was doing what he was doing and how he was going about handling his business. Then he went to the Los Angeles Lakers to go play with Kobe Bryant. This, I think, was when this was the season he he ruptured his Achilles. And I think Kobe at the time was about 34 years old. And the Lakers had just also acquired Steve Nash. So there was this big hype, like, Dwight Howard is here. And, the Lakers are going to contend for a championship. And there was all of this. But when he came, I think he had gone through some back surgery. So when he came, he was injured. Right, he was injured, but I think because of the pressure of playing in LA and all of the fans and the hoopla, I think he rushed himself back on the court and he was playing injured. And when he got on the court, it just didn't really work out. That team that had so much promise, that was supposedly supposed to go to the finals and win the championship, because then you had Kobe, you had Paul Gasol, you had Dwight Howard, and you had Steve Nash, you had Ron Artest, you had all of these guys, you had all of this promise, but it never really worked out. So it ended up being the season ended up ending really bad. Kobe ended up tearing his Achilles. Then the last game, I think, of the season, Dwight Howard got ejected or so. I think they made the playoffs, and I think the Lakers got swept in that series. And I think the last game he got ejected, and it was just a mess. And Dwight Howard, LA was putting up "Please Stay" posters in front of the Staples Center, and a lot of people like Stephen A. Smith were saying the Lakers look pathetic, that they're going to be begging Dwight Howard to stay with them. Then he decides that he wants to go play with the Houston Rockets because him and Kobe couldn't see eye to eye, and that didn't really work out. So he went to go play with the Houston Rockets with James Harden. Got there, and everyone was thinking, this is going to be the next Kobe and Shaq duo and blah, 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 blah. But the problem was him and James Harden didn't really mesh well on the court. That was the problem. James Harden and Dwight Howard, for whatever reason, couldn't really capture any magic. I mean, James Harden had more magic with Capella than he does with just a roll to the basket lob guy. He did much better. He had more chemistry with him than he had Dwight. So Dwight Howard only stayed there for 1 year. Next thing you know, I think he was traded to the Atlanta Hawks to go play with the Atlanta Hawks. And since then, we didn't really hear much about Dwight Howard. He didn't have all that hoopla and all the praise about him. And I think the biggest issue that people had with Dwight Howard was, I think it was his ego. I think he was more concerned about building his brand. From what I saw, from what I read, from what I heard people say, he was more concerned about building his brand, less so than winning. He wanted to get a lot of touches in the post, but he wasn't really polished offensively. He was a really good defensive player and a rebounder. I think he was averaging, I think his best year, he was averaging like 21, 22 points a game. He definitely wasn't as gifted as a scorer as like DeMarcus Cousins or Anthony Davis, these type of players. But defensively, he was an amazing player. But Dwight wanted, I guess, the extra spotlight. And as he got older, teams just weren't as interested in him. He bounced around to the Atlanta Hawks. Then he played with the Hornets. Then he played with the Washington Wizards. And then I think now he's with the Grizzlies. So the Lakers are looking at him to fill out this roster spot, and I think it's really funny how, you know, they've come full circle. A guy that, you know, they were begging to have. Now I think the Lakers said, you know, one of the sources from within the Lakers are saying that they're just doing it for due diligence sake, just to, you know, to say that they took a look at him. But I'm not even sure if the Lakers are actually going to sign Dwight Howard. So there's so many things going on with Dwight Howard and the Lakers, and I don't know if they're going to sign him. Now, what I want to know from you guys as fans, especially Lakers fans, but basketball fans in general, if the Lakers end up signing Dwight Howard, do you think it's going to make a difference? This is the point, because remember, DeMarcus Cousins was coming off of an injury anyway, and we saw him in, you know, little stints and bursts in the NBA Finals, and he showed glimpses here and there, but he obviously wasn't the player that he was before the injury. Now you're replacing him with someone else, Dwight Howard, who's a very good rebounder, probably still a good defensive player, obviously doesn't have the same athleticism that he had when he was a younger player. So they're going to bring him in, and I'm going to be curious to see how all of that is supposed to mesh together. So what I want to know is, do you think Dwight Howard is going to be a good fit in LA? Obviously, he's not going to have the same ego that he did when he was a younger player, and he himself said it, that he's much more self-aware now. He's a much more self-aware player. He said he actually knows why Kobe called him soft, which is funny when they had that altercation in the Staples Center with that little spat that they had, and Kobe said, "You're soft." And now he said he understands why Kobe called him so. I don't know what kind of revelation he had that made him decide to say that. So my question is, do you think he's going to work in LA? Do you think the Lakers are even going to sign him? And if they do sign him, how do you think it's going to work out in the season to come? Lakers fans, I want to know what you think. Are you going to be happy with this signing or not? Do you think the Lakers are just going to look for someone else, or just try to figure out what they have with their current roster? So that's what I want to know from you guys. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get notified when we put out a new video. Wishing you guys a great day. Charles here from DreamersPro. Peace.